Hey, y'all, this is Tracy RL, and we are live from Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. This school is absolutely amazing. Let me just tell you a little bit about Rainier. It's a public, tuition-free charter school providing anti-racist, collaborative, community, and rigorous education while providing access to civic leadership, career, and college success for all scholars in Seattle. Now, what I love about this school is 97% of the students identify as members of the global majority. That means they're diverse in some way. 82% of the staff identify as members of the global majority. And the only global majority-led and community-created charter school in Seattle, Washington. So we are here in a school with actual youth in the last week of school, so give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. So what I love most about this school is, again, they focus on a mission. They say we fulfill our vision by ensuring scholars are college and career ready, by providing what they identify as an anti-racist education, opportunities for collaborative problem solving, and community leadership experiences. So they're all about collaborative community, anti-racism, and leadership. And what I love about when they talk about leadership, they say we elevate the voice of our future local and global leaders. Leadership goes beyond positions of power and comes in many, many forms. Scholars are critical thinkers. They're advocating for themselves and for others. They know when to step up and to step back. They speak out and ask questions, and they have integrity. Scholars will participate in one or more, and one or all, by graduation, community partnerships, entrepreneurships, and all various things. Scholars will also exhibit skills and emotional intelligence that can be translated to the future career choices. What I love most is that we are here today for their semi-annual Community Partner Forum. That means we have organizations and individuals that are saying this school matters. These students matter. And one of the individuals I'm going to bring up before we actually have each of these scholars introduce themselves is actually Mr. Steve Smith. So we have a panel of scholars. The older guy at the end is clearly clearly not one of our scholars, but what he has done is he has created this space. We just had Ezel's fried chicken. How was lunch, everyone? Was it good? Yeah. Was it amazing? So thank you to Louis Rudd of Ezel's Chicken. Thank you so much, Ezel's famous fried chicken, let me be clear. And what I love about this is this individual, Steve Smith, he has a little bit of a cold, so I'm talking loud while we're settling the room just a little bit. But Steve is Executive Director of Black Education Strategy Roundtable. So Steve, tell us a little bit about what is the Black Education Strategy Roundtable and this Black Student Report Card. We're here to elevate voices of these youth. Tell us why we're here and who are you?
Hey, well, hi, and thank you, Tracy.
Yes.
It's good to be here. Hello to all of you. Thank you for being here with us. My name is Steve Smith, and I am, as Tracy was saying, I'm the Executive Director of the Black Education Strategy Roundtable. This is a nonprofit organization that is dedicated to the achievement of Black students. We want to see 100% of Black students in Washington State graduate from college with a great education and really prepared to go on to post-secondary or whatever their next steps in life are, so that they become a really well-qualified candidates in that level and productive citizens and make really great contributions to our community. So that's our work. And we do it in a little different way. We look at issues around systems. What are the education system? What things can we change systematically to improve those outcomes rather than just looking at specific programs that we may have. But for instance, we've been very involved with charter schools in that sector because this has been an important change in the system to provide opportunities for families, such as the families of students who attend the school here, to achieve educational excellence. And so we're really excited to be here at Rainier Valley. and to see one of our charter schools that the initiatives we've been supporting really flourishing and doing well.
I love it. So Steve, now tell us a little bit about this. Right, it's called the Black Student Report Card, and it's about elevating your voices. So tell us about the Black Student Report Card. My role, because I interview people, it's kind of my thing, is to really help bring these voices forward, not just now, but in an ongoing basis. So what is the Black Student Report Card, and why is it so important, Steve?
Well, the report card, and the name of it is it's something that I came up with that I'm not wed to, but it's a report out to us as Black folks. How are we doing, and what is going on for us? And I wanted to look at the issues around education. A lot of times, our system paints students in a negative way. We talk about gaps, we talk about deficits. It's that contingent that we always seem to hear about. But there's brilliance, there's strengths, there's great capabilities that our Black students have that we don't acknowledge. And so we want to do what I call creating a new narrative about Black folks. Let us tell you about us, education. Let us tell you about our great strengths. Let us tell you about our achievements. Let us tell you about our capabilities. We're going to help define that as Black voices, Black parents, Black students, talking about our Black excellence. And we want education system to know who we are and that we bring this strong capabilities and assets to the system.
I love that. I love that. So one of the things that we do, thank you so much. Now we're going to get to the main event. And guess what the main event is? You guys. Yeah. So we're going to do some introductions. We had some pre-interviews, so you'll hear more from them. But I want each of you to introduce yourselves, tell us your name, your grade, and then if you had to define Black brilliance, Black excellence, as you're talking about yourself as a scholar, your friends who are scholars and who are amazing, students that are a part of this school, people that you know, what would you identify as Black excellence or Black brilliance? And I'm going to start with this young, beautiful lady to my left. Tell us again, what is your name? What is your grade? And then tell us about your definition of Black excellence or Black brilliance.
My name is Olivia Underwood. I'm in 7th grade, and my definition of Black brilliance is no matter what your skin color is, or no matter how light you are, how dark you are, if you still identify as Black, you could do anything that you want. There are many Black people out there that have done many things to help the community.
Steve is nodding his head over here. He's like, yes, I love it. So he didn't get to see y'all pre-interview, so he's going to be impressed by everything. I'm already like blown away. I think you guys are all amazing. Thank you so much for that. We'll come back to you in a second. Madam, I'm going to have you introduce yourself as well. Tell us your name, your grade, and then what is your definition of Black excellence or Black brilliance?
My name is Journey Duke. I'm in 7th grade, and my definition of Black excellence is Black people exceeding the standards that have been put in place for them and just making themselves into like inventors, innovators, and everything brilliant.
I love that. I love it so much. Steve, you're nodding your head. Why are you smiling over there?
Oh, it's good to hear the voices of students, and they represent what they're saying. I mean, that's authentic. That's what I appreciate hearing.
I love that. I love it, I love it, I love it. Okay, handsome gentlemen to my right, I'm gonna have both of you introduce yourselves as well. Tell me your names, what grade you're in, and then what is your definition of Black brilliance? I'm gonna start with you, closest to me.
All right, my name is Tensai Lopez. I'm in 10th grade, and my definition of Black excellence is being a role model for all the younger kids who are in minority and may have like seen or have an idea of all the limits that people may put on Black people that aren't true, and being able to break those limits and show these kids that you can do more.
Don't you love that? Everybody's smiling in the room, nodding heads like, yes, yes. I love it so much. Introduce yourself as well. Tell us who you are, your grade, and then what is your definition of Black excellence?
My name is Wayne Hill.
A little bit louder for me.
My name is Wayne Hill, and I'm in 10th grade. And my definition of Black excellence is people who are Black and who are just powerful and successful, and like he said, are role models to the younger ones, and could, be an impact in their life, and make them do good things.
I love that. I love that so much. Steve, I know this has been work that you have done for decades. Like you support youth, you've been supporting youth. When you hear these voices, what does it make you think of? What do you want to hear more of? Are there any specific questions that you have right now that you would ask them?
Well, we come from a tradition, a narrative of that schools don't see black folks as being successful, or that they've got barriers they got to overcome. So tell me about something, I don't know, I always want to hear about things that you're doing that you think you're successful in, and things that you do well, and how did you discover those things within you?
I love it. We'll start with you.
I think one thing that I'm good at is just being serious about my education. I take my education very seriously, and yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
I love it. What about you? What do you, yeah.
I enjoy cooking, and I think I'm very good at it. And
You enjoy what?
cooking
Cooking.
and baking.
Like what? Tell me. What do you like to cook?
Mostly baking. I like.
Right, yes.
I like.
Come on now.
I like baking pastries and cakes. I made cake cones the other day. I also, as I've been at this school, they've had drawing programs, so I've realized that I've liked that too.
You like drawing?
Recently, yeah.
Okay, all right. What made you think, oh, I like this? What do you think, why haven't you done it before? What got you thinking you like this?
Before, I guess I just thought it was like more of like, oh, I have to do this because I'm bored, or I have to do this because I don't have anything else to do, and there's just all these things laying around. But now at this school, I realize like I'm more creative, and like they've had opportunities to have me to draw, and mostly I like painting, so.
Very good. I like to see that you got doing something just like rather than just sit there being bored. Can you talk to my youngest son? He's 25 and he'll still tell me, Dad, I'm bored.
I love that.
You're good.
You are Black brilliance, each of you. So same question. What was the question again?
This is, what have you enjoyed learning? What is sort of that? I was like, oh, I really like this. How did you discover things that you like doing?
I discovered that I liked setting an example for younger kids, because I didn't know that I was like, that people really like looked up to me like that. I didn't really, until like some teachers told me, and I'm like, this makes me feel good, you know, it just makes me happy, and yeah.
I love that. I love it. What about you?
Something that I recently liked was just, yeah, basically what he said, because I have 2 little cousins who go here, and you know, just being a role model for them, and just, you know, being a good influence on them, just like, I want them to do better, and you know, just do good in school and stuff like that. So, and while I'm here, I can just show them, you know, the way, and you know, do good stuff so they know what to do and stuff. So.
I love that. I love it. Every head is nodding in this room. Look at Bayonne Coleman. She's actually smiling. I can see the smiles through the mask. Eyes are glistening. You're proud of these kids, aren't you? Would you? You're going to be talking here in a second. I'd love to bring you in as a part of this panel if you're able to join. What are you? Can you? They're going to mic you up. We're going to have you come. Just stay in. You're pretty short. You won't be out of the shot. You'll be just fine when we bring you in. So, Steve, I know you and I were talking about this Black student report card, and part of it was helping to change the narrative for others. And we talked about learning, how kids learn. We talked about how they encourage others and their strengths. So if you had to use adjectives to describe your strengths as individuals, adjectives to describe others who are here in this room, who are at this school, what would you describe as adjectives? How would you describe Black students that are amazing? Start with you. Adjectives.
To be honest,
Anybody, adjectives, we'll just.
I think one of the pillars, leadership and anti-racist.
All right. You know, you brought that out in them. Come on up here, girl. Like I said, you're pretty short. I think you're going to be able to come stand by. Are you mic'd up? Perfect. There you go. That's a perfect spot. So introduce yourself, Miss Bayonne Coleman.
So I'm Bayonne Coleman. I am the CEO of Rainer Valley Leadership Academy, and also a mother and aunt of scholars who also attend here.
Thank you. So part of what we wanted to do today, tell us about your journey, just real briefly. Your journey here and what you're celebrating. Like we said, you're celebrating, there's a 5-year milestone. Tell us about that, what you've done and where we're going.
Yeah, so I have, is mine not on? Sorry, go ahead, keep going. Okay. So I started with RVLA in the 1920 school year. They were governed by another organization, a large charter management organization from out of state that didn't represent our community. Community at that time really wanted for the organization to be moved to just be a collaborative community school that was community-led. And so through that process, we, first of all, I said, no, I wasn't coming over here a couple of times. Like, I was like, nah, I'm good. Not doing it. But I grew up the hill, up at the top of the hill from the school. So this is the community that I was raised in. And the elders kind of got on me and was like, look, young lady, this is what we need you to do. You don't say no to elders too many times and get away with it. So stood in this place, but I've been in education for a little over 21 years. And knew that one of the passions that I had was to really support an anti-racist organization in school for our community. So through that process with community, we had about 12 to 15 different meetings with our elders, our community members, scholars, staff members, community partners, with the Washington State Charter Commission, with Washington State Charter Association, all in these various meetings, and began to synthesize what it was that we actually wanted to see as a community-led organization in school. Schools should be ecosystems that feed back out into the community. We should be using businesses, et cetera, to be able to, global majority businesses specifically, to push that money that our families are paying to attend public schools to then go back out into community so that we can eradicate the opportunity gaps and the opportunity and wealth gaps specifically. So that's the way that we kind of use school. January 23rd of 2020, we were awarded independence by the Washington State Charter Commission through that partnership to become the first and only anti-racist public school in Washington State at that time.
Yes,
Yeah.
I love that.
That was a huge feat for us. You know, and it wasn't something that can be done alone. So I know a lot of folks will be like, oh, beyond, but this is our community. This is what we've done. So this is not a standalone type of thing for us. This is really what it means to be collaborative community. So, you know, Tensai and Wayne have been here from the very beginning. They were some of our scholars who, you know, represented during that time, spoke to the commission, wrote letters, had conversations, you know, with folks. They have conversations with politicians, et cetera, to get us here. In the school year of 2021 was the first time that we got to lead as an organization completely separate of the charter management organization. And granted, we were in COVID, but we were able to do some amazing things with our community. We really rallied around our community. We had a lot of like online virtual game nights and, you know, paint and sips for families where they had hot chocolate and tea and, you know, coffee, et cetera, and they got to paint at home and, you know, show their pictures to everybody, to just really rally around what it means to actually be community in these spaces. To now being here, I think, you know, one of the things is that it takes a long time. It only takes a couple of minutes to make a mess. Like, we've seen that.
Right.
Spill milk, have a couple of little kids in a playroom, and it's a disaster. But it takes a lot longer to clean up that mess. And I don't think that RVLA was ever really put in a position to actually be successful through that transition, but because of the resilience and the perseverance of our community, we basically have kind of just stomped that narrative out, and we're still here. And so we just received our 5-year renewal, which is the max that you can get for Washington State public charter schools, with no conditions whatsoever, which is meaning that like we are supporting our community and doing what we said that we were going to do. And like really this is just about centering Black and Indigenous children, specifically because they have not been centered in other spaces, and we have to create more educational systems and just systems across the board that center Black and Indigenous children first, and everybody else will be taken care of because of that. So.
I love that. I love that. Y'all give her a round of applause. Thank you so much. Now, Bayron, I'm going to ask Steve, because I know he wanted to hear language around how do we describe our youth? So how would you describe your scholars? First of, yes.
I'm going to jump in here for a
Okay,
second.
great. I love
Because
it.
I want to jump on a couple things that Fionn said. And she was talking about the elders came to her and said, this is what we need you to do, and you stepped up. And I just want you to know that as young folks, their elders, those who are with us, present today, but there's also those who we're standing on the shoulders of, the ancestors who are no longer with us. And just think about how special each of you are. Do you know how many grandparents it took to get you here? So it took 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-great-grandparents, 16 second grandparents, 32 third grandparents, 64 fourth grandparents, 128 fifth grandparents, 256 sixth grandparents.
I love it.
512 seventh grandparents.
So I think you said a lot.
A lot. That's all right. I just want to get that it took a lot for us to get here. Okay? And so that's who you're standing on. Also, when you think about the school that you're standing in, do you know, so I was talking about that there was a charter management company that was running this school at first. And you know why they were here? Because certain powers in the state thought, well, yes, we want charter schools to happen, but we think that the ones that are going to have the best success are going to be those that have been well established under these contract management organizations and have other operations of the state. We think that that's where we want to put our money in, that we're going to bet on those folks because they're going to do the best work around this. They will become the foundation for charter school operations in Washington State. You know what? That ain't so. That ain't so. This group got up and left.
Yeah.
And then community stepped in. And we own this. And this is now your space that has been created by your community, the resilience of this community, the excellence of this community. This is the type of thing that we need to hold on to. And I just want to call that out. Thank you for being that. I just want to call that out because where we're sitting today is an example of this is our excellence. We have the tools, the capabilities, and the experience to put things into action. And when folks says you can't do it, we don't trust you to do it, we just ignore it. And we go ahead and we do it. That's what we all do. So thank you very much for all your work here.
Now, if you were describing the narrative of how this transition occurred, right now, the community demanded better. We demanded Black excellence. We demanded that our people are the ones that lead our people. So if you had to describe Black excellence, Black brilliance, what are the words that you use when you're talking about your scholars?
Future, really, you know what I mean? Like, I think sums it up. They're activists, they're advocates, they're lifelong learners, they're brilliant, they're powerful, they're innovative, they're incredibly creative, they're loving, they're empathetic, they're kind, they're passionate. You know, like, these are the young men and women who are going to be leading our country, you know, and our country is going to be that much better because of it. So, you know, I think a lot of times folks are asked, like, what do you want to be when you get older? But the reality of it is that these scholars sitting before you and the ones that are in their classrooms may not have necessarily created what they're going to do just yet, right? And I think, like, that's the brilliance of these young men and women is that they're innovative. So what they will be, they haven't created necessarily yet, and they don't have to just step into the shoes of, like, being an attorney or, you know, a doctor or whatever. You know, they're going to create and they're going to innovate in so many different ways. That's going to continue to just, you know, like, blow away the ancestors.
I love that. I love that so much. So y'all, real quick, tell us more about, this is for the youth, for the scholars. Tell us more about what it is like to be a student at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. We were talking earlier about the teachers and the administrators here and how just their words alone have helped to elevate you. Tell us a little bit more about that story and what you've gotten from the teachers here and why it matters that they are 82% of the staff actually represent as part of the global majority?
The teachers always want the best for us. They always uplift us, never bring us down, and they understand what it's like to be the global majority, and it shows in their classes, and like, yeah, they're just really open with us.
I love that. You also shared something about your experiences. I asked when the community or the world puts something on you that makes you feel less than, how you're able to come from within based on the people that have poured into you. Tell us about that.
Like the teachers, families will like most likely uplift you. Yeah, they will uplift you, and you just have to like not listen to what other people say, because they will try to bring you down, and you just can't listen to that.
I love it. I love it. What do you think? What have you loved most about Rainier Valley Leadership Academy, the teachers, the administrators, this beautiful woman standing behind us, fighting for y'all from the beginning? What would you like to say? What have you learned? Anything you want to say?
The teachers and the staff here are really kind and are willing to help you when you need it. They will stand up for students when they have to, and the teachers are willing to give accommodations if you really need more time or if there's something happening in your world to do an assignment. But the teachers are really understanding to things that you need to do and things that need to happen, and they will sit down and listen to you. Yeah, they will listen if you have something to say.
I love it. Feel heard and valued, uplifted. Gee, imagine if that was the norm around here. Love it. All right, gentlemen, same question for you. What do you love most about Rainier Valley Leadership Academy? What have you gotten from the teachers and the administrators?
I really appreciate the teachers because of, like she said, all the time they put into helping us, and not only help with work in school, but what we want to do in the future. And maybe we need to look for an internship, they'll help us with that, or maybe we have a plan, they'll help us with that. And I just really appreciate them for being extra caring towards us.
I love it.
Yeah, same thing what they said. Teachers here, like, they care about what we want to do in the future and will support that. Like, we got teachers here who, like, if you tell them you want to be something in the future, they will look up, oh, what type do you want to be? Like, they'll send you links from websites, help us, like, look for internships, and, like, they just support us, like, with our future and what we do and what we want to do in the future, and they're just really kind, and, you know, like, they will hear us out a lot.
I love that. Steve, I know we have a full day here, y'all, at Rainier Valley Leadership Academy. We started with lunch with the scholars. Thank you, Louis Rudd of Ezel's Fried Chicken. Thank you for that. We started with lunch, 12:30 to 1. 1 to 2 is this panel. At 2 o'clock, we're going to go on a deeper dive with Ms. Bayonne. And then we're also hosting this is your semi-annual community partner forum. Is that correct? Did I get that right? Okay, perfect.
Yeah, Community Partner Summit.
Community Partners Summit. So that's happening, so stay with us. But Steve, I wanted to give you any final words, anything you want to ask before we talk to her about why community partnerships are so important.
So thank you, scholars, for talking about the greatness that was here. Let's just say for some unfortunate incident that you couldn't come back here next year, that you were set in a school that was more traditional, majority white, very few faculty of color that you would be able to lean onto and reach to. What would you do to be successful? What do you think you would do to be successful there next year if you weren't in this place, in this wonderful place, and you had to go back to a more traditional school setting? What do you think you'd take away with you to help you to be successful there?
I've been at those schools before, so I think that I would just this school has helped me stand up for myself, so I would learn how to stand up for myself in a way that I can just focus on the education I need without anybody getting my way, so I could do what I want to do when I grow up, and not having anybody else telling me this is what you need to do, and I could just do what I need to do and stand up for myself, telling them, no, I do what I want.
Oh, that's it. Self-advocacy.
How old are you, girl?
13.
13. What grade is 13?
7.
Self-advocacy. Such a great, huge piece. Others?
I would use like the RVLA pillars that they gave us here. Like Olivia said, I've been to those type of schools that were like majority white, and I mean, it was pretty bad there. But I think the way I got through it was just not letting myself feel different from the others, and just always being true to myself.
Being true to self. That's really great. Thank you. Thank you. Gentlemen, anything you would add to that?
I feel like they covered a lot. I really agree with what they said, and yeah, just staying true to yourself and not letting what's on you affect you. And
I would, like go there and, like communicate with people and like let them not assume something I'm not, basically, and like, let them know I'm not some just, black kid who's just, just what they think or something, just prove them like I'm a somebody and, I actually like are willing to, do something.
I love that so much. Now, we are going to move into the community partner forum part, but I just want to ask Bayonne and ask each of you, anyone who wants to respond to this question, why is it so important that we have community lean in to support us? This is the community partner forum. At 3 o'clock, we're going to be interviewing anyone who's here who's from a community organization to talk about who you are, why your organization is so important, but tell us why community is so important. Bayonne, I'll start with you.
Yeah. I think in our country we have definitely had this very individualistic idea of what it means to be a person. And that is a very colonial way of thinking. We do not exist outside of community. Everything we should be doing to like better ourselves as far as our education and all those different pieces should be impacting our community directly. So it should be that ripple out effect. You can accomplish very little alone. And so in order for us to create like real change, to be able to do things differently, we have to be a part of a community. We have to listen to our elders. We have to check in on our elders. We have to, have family. We have to have a tribe around us, that believes in us when the times get, tough, to be able to help lift us back up. And so I think for us, like collaborative community is, really truly what we mean. We have Tensai who comes to board meetings, to make sure that he understands what's happening in our community so that he can communicate and advocate the way that he needs to. Our other scholars sitting up here, Olivia, she definitely is always advocating and checking in with teachers to say, hey, I think this thing should be better. I think we should change this, or, hey, this thing is great. Let's make sure that we keep it. So we hear from our community and we make change. My experience is my experience, but our community experience has many, many voices, and we have to listen to those voices to continuously be better.
Thank you so much. We got 1 minute left, Steve. I'm going to give you the closing thoughts about community, about why Black Education Strategy Roundtable is so committed to supporting this school and everything that's happening here. Any final words?
When we think about Black education and our history and sitting on shoulders, before desegregation of schools, we had thousands of Black teachers and principals who cared about our students and who loved our students. And so when a student went to school then, they were in community. They were surrounded by community. The teachers were part of their community. And so we had that kind of community. And then when we had desegregation, we lost that community within education. And so community looks a little bit different today, but it's still the same concept of that we need community. We need those other folks around us, because education is not done just by sitting in the classroom. It's everybody coming together. It's we all knowing what's going on and being part of it. So community is incredibly important for our work in this arena.
Wow. Thank you all so much. Give yourselves a round of applause. And the next voice you're going to hear, we're going to take a little break. It's going to be Ms. Bayonne Coleman. Do what you do. Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Woo!
Thank you.
Yes.
Wow.
Thank you, scholars. That was awesome. Thank you.
You guys were